Like many gamers, I didn't play Sin and Punishment until it was on the Virtual Console. Heck, I didn't even know it existed until it was on the Virtual Console. Developed by Treasure, the same people who made Gunstar Heroes, Sin and Punishment is basically all about shooting while only moving left and right. Shoot this, shoot that, shoot her, shoot that cat, shoot that Resident Evil reject, shoot just about anything that moves. Think Star Fox 64, only you're in the Landmaster the whole time. As far as the story goes, all I can get from it is that there was a war between aliens that collided on Earth. That's my best guess. Another way to explain it would be to play a game of Mad Libs. The world was blank by blank. You're the, I think, rebels, trying to stop the blank from blanking the rest of the blank. Later, Saki turns into a blank, and you play as Iron, and you go to the blank, and you know what, who gives a blank about the story? Just shoot everything and you'll feel happy. The objective of every level is basically just survive until the end. Every once in a while, you'll come across a boss fight, and then sometimes another boss fight, and if you're really lucky, another boss fight. Your abilities are aim, shoot, jump, double jump, roll, and melee combat. Rolling will get you out of the way of incoming enemy fire and objects, and melee combat has two special uses. When an enemy or object is close to you, tap the fire button to have your gun turn into a beam sword to cut through whatever's in your way. The melee attacks are stronger than your laser fire, but the best part about it is when a missile is coming at you, you can hit them with a melee move to send it back to where the cursor's at. Always satisfying! Destroying enough enemies will get you an extra continue, which you will need plenty of to beat this game since you only get one life and continues. If you run out of continues, the game goes all the way back to the beginning, but you are allowed to save and quit your progress with all the continues you earned. Shooting objects may... If you play this game, you better get used to that. There's 3 different types of bonuses: life for health, extra points for those who want a high score, and time, something I'll go over later. Most of the time you'll find yourself avoiding obstacles while shooting at just about everything on the screen. In other words, learn to multitask because that will be the only way you can get through the 10 stages in this game. Most of the time you'll be watching out for tons of laser fire on the screen. Sometimes you'll have to watch out for walls, pits, beams, and barrels. The locations aren't exactly the normal types of levels you play through. Open fields in a dream, cities under an invasion, enemy headquarters, fighting against sea and air cruisers on a moving platform, a subway in a future vision, and the woods. The ones you might remember the most are fighting around the sea and air cruisers because of the platform you're on is controlled by Achi, who has, well, you could say psychic abilities, but you get the feeling it's more powerful than that. In the woods, since it's the only time you move right to get to the end of the level. You can move left, but the goal is to the right. Then again, the game is pretty short and the levels are challenging, so you might actually remember every level you play through. You play as Saki and Iron in the game, but it's not really worth talking about because they play exactly the same. No extra moves, no difference in attacks, nothing. Boss fights, on the other hand, are worth talking about. Normally you just try to find the weak point. Well, finding it will be a bit of a challenge the first time, but these bosses do not leave themselves open to a direct attack. Okay, some of them do, but you still have to watch out for your surroundings. You can lock on to bosses and just about anything else for that matter, but the power will only be at half its strength, which means when you get to this part, you're going to have to do the targeting yourself, otherwise it's impossible to beat unless it's on the easy mode. Remember that the way to attack the bosses may not just be your laser, but the beam sword. While the game is very challenging, I felt that some parts go over the top in terms of difficulty. This part in particular, I just can't get through without taking too many hits. And when I say this part, I mean the whole thing! I'm going to give you some advice. Jump only when you have to. Don't forget that you can roll by just tapping the buttons for left and right twice, and you'll go through the enemy fire without taking a hit. If you jump and take a hit, you'll fall to the ground and take more damage. Speaking of damage, once you run out of time, you'll slowly begin to lose health. I have to admit that when I first played the game, I thought it was nearly impossible because the controls seemed so... whacked. Since this game was made for the Nintendo 64, there is no second analog control, meaning the control stick is how you aim and not how you move. The controls have different setups, but 1 and 2 both suck because it's nearly impossible to get the controls down. I mean, X and Y to move the character left and right? Is there anyone on the planet that thinks that works? I had said that this game would be better if the controls weren't so misplaced, but then I noticed that there was a third layout. L and R move the character left and right and makes this far more enjoyable. I overlooked this because this is how the controls are laid out. If you're a fan of crazy, over-the-top, things flying at you in all directions shooters, then Sin and Punishment might just be what you're looking for. Of course, I can't really say it's anywhere on the same level of enjoyment as Star Fox 64, but it's worth trying out if you're looking for a challenge. I do feel that the aiming reticle feels a little sluggish at times, and the N64 button layout just doesn't do the game justice. It should be played with 2 analog control sticks, because using L and R to move instead of the control stick just feels very weird. Hang on, Star Successor, I'll get to you soon. The game is pretty short, but the difficulty should keep you coming back for more, if you're up to the challenge. A 4 out of 5. It's an enjoyable experience for those who can play it.